a trip to Insanity Island.
Everybody's got LSU.
We're back, baby.
I'm the
Yo,
dude, are we live?
We are freaking live.
Whoa, another exciting episode of Insanity Island. It's insane. Oh, look, we have here a special guest. Look what we have here. We have Sassy.
Oh my God, it's Sassy. Oh my God, it's Sassy. Oh my God, it's Sassy.
I know you know Sassy. Richard hasn't met.
We have a special guest here.
What's up, Sassy?
Betsy wants to be included on the podcast because she's feeling left out. She doesn't get to talk about politics enough.
Betsy would make better comments than Tim would. That's for sure.
Betsy wants to talk about the big balloon of the week.
She's smarter. She's funnier.
Talk about.
I want to talk about the Chinese balloon, and I don't even know what else happened this week.
Oh, it was kind of a slow week.
Maybe I'm not the best.
Well, I think Sassy had a good week this week.
Sassy had a good week.
Sassy,
look at the camera.
If you don't mind.
How'd you go to the vet?
Sassy, look at the camera.
Sassy, look this way. Go this way, Sassy.
Okay. Before you know it, everybody else is watching.
That is a cute dog.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we're leaving.
All right. Well, thank you for that wonderful appearance. Hey, where did Richard go?
I think he quit.
Dude, are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We've been live for about 5
All right, here we go. All right, we got the.
Oh my God! It's
another.
It's incredible.
Fair that
Oh my
Richard's
God.
dog.
I got
That
radar.
is a cute dog.
Dude,
That is a
let
cute
the
dog right
dogs
there.
out.
What's his name, Richard?
Dogs out.
His name is Radar because he has big ears. They stick out when he's not.
Radar love.
Oh, is that his name, Radar?
Radar is a half Chihuahua, half Dachshund. They call them
Oh,
Chiweenies.
wow,
They call
that's
them
awesome.
Chiweenies. A Chiweenie. That's the name of his breed.
Wow, it's beautiful. I love the coating on the dog.
Wow,
The way
what a
it looks
dog.
beautiful.
And we all know about your zoo. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into the insanity of the last week. Okay. The big red balloon.
Sheldon, I got Sheldon.
Oh, Sheldon's wonderful. Okay. The big red balloon, although it wasn't red. So there's a big balloon, okay, that somehow made it all the way to our upper Midwest without being seen or heard about or under our radar. And who knows? There could have been a nuke under there. No, well, I think the big criticism is that how did that balloon get so far and get completely undetected? I ask you, Richard Sheffield.
Well, first of all, I think that it was reminiscent of the way that politics used to be back in the 80s when we had a lot of things that that we would have to sort of ponder, and so I just want to sort of let me, if I can, remind us of a different time. It's 99 Luftballons.
Yeah,
Luftballons.
Yeah, so it's reminiscent of the Cold War when when the German singers were worried about a red balloon setting off the Third World War. But in this case, it's real, and it's a Chinese balloon. We have known for days and days and days that it was headed over Alaska. This isn't the sort of thing that you would think just floats by, but we chose to let it into our airspace, and we chose to let it fly over a bunch of sensitive areas. So
okay,
now Richard, house in Delaware.
Richard, that's the question people are asking: is that did we know about this balloon?
Yes.
Did we know about it? We knew before it even crossed over the airspace of Alaska.
100%.
Okay, so why don't we choose to take action then?
We
before
knew
it even got to Alaska.
It was over the Aleutian Islands. We knew it was there.
Why don't we take?
It's a great idea. Like nothing's going to float from China over, or North Korea for that matter, over to
Not a nuke or anything.
I mean, that's just it. Is they could have floated an EMP. They could have floated a bioweapon on it. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff they could have put on it.
We don't know what they did with it. That's the point. They could have been spreading all kind of crap the whole time it was out. We don't know.
There's a reason.
Do we know?
They did spread COVID over here, which killed 1 million Americans.
Exactly. I mean, were they doing it again? I don't know. I mean,
There's a reason why we should, protect our borders and not let foreign craft fly over.
yeah, but Richard, right now we don't have protective borders and we don't have protective skies, so we're not actually a sovereign country right now. We're kind of like,
There's frankly, there are reports that even while Trump was president, that there were balloons that flew over the country as well. Now
it did, but they came over and went up. They never went over anything.
Right. So there was
It turned out, I mean, they looked into that because they wanted to trash Trump with this.
And
It turned out they came over, but then left. They didn't do anything. They didn't just float across the country like Mr. Mackey on South Park. Hey kids, how you doing?
Well, I think the big point. I think the big point is, and Pendo, you actually had a great analogy there. Open borders, open air. Open borders, open air. So they're not even willing to stop a device floating over our country from let's face it, an enemy state. I mean, China's not exactly our friends. I mean, they're a trading partner, but that's about where it stops. So, yeah, why didn't we take action sooner? I think a lot of people are questioning that. I think a lot of people think, oh, we're vulnerable with this.
Well, I think Biden owed China $50.
Yeah.
No, $50.
It
was a pool game. Okay, I heard about this.
Yeah,
Biden lost. He had to let them fly their little thing over the. It was $50 bet. That's how they do it. That's how they do it.
It's tough to see why this thing was left, and frankly,
I mean, all the way across the country, Richard.
All the way across
the country.
And it's steerable.
I don't care if they shoot it down later. I mean, it's like he comes out with his BB gun and he goes, "I shot it down," and he's got an eye patch, but I shot my eye out first. It's like I don't care that you shot it down.
What would a Reagan done if he saw this balloon approaching Alaska?
He would have destroyed it before it got over the Aleutian Islands, just like any president would.
Fair enough.
Once it looked like it was going to go into the United States, they would have shot it down. Joe lets it go across the entire country.
Look, I'm kind of a geography nerd, so I think it's the Aleutian Islands, not the Aleutian Islands. But
no,
still.
you're right. You're absolutely right. Sorry.
But nope, that's all right. We'll.
Richard's right. Richard's right.
But still, this isn't like a balloon. Also, that you go let go in your backyard and just watch where it flies, right? I mean, this was a controlled balloon. It flew over sensitive missile sites all across America.
You know what? It doesn't even matter if it got they can get better stuff from their satellites.
You would think.
What they did was they did it. They got away with it. That's the point. They won. Period.
That was Marco Rubio's theory that he came out with today. It was saying that all intended.
That's how I feel as an American.
It was all intended to basically humiliate the U.S. and say,
I feel like I was raped. Like you know what I feel like? I feel like I was a kid and China touched me down there, and they did bad things to my teepee.
Chris,
that's how I feel.
Dude,
for someone like
I feel like China raped me.
We're gonna get in trouble, Chris, with the woke police.
I'm a little scared of China.
I'm
a little scared.
Let's not make molestation jokes, but I'm
not joking.
But it's the kind of thing where people are used to Tim Mitchell, looking at Tim Mitchell's windows. And what would Tim do? Tim would stop them if he saw the same person coming across the yard for the second, third, fourth, fifth time. He would walk out and say, "Don't look in my windows anymore."
Yeah.
He would.
Thank you.
He would protect his yard. Let's say, let's
at least with a BB gun.
And he would
slingshot.
And this is a case where we know they're doing it. We don't stop them. They're simply looking to humiliate the U.S.
And they did. They won.
They did.
And how about the Chinese response, huh?
I know. How dare you take down our spy?
Yeah, they blamed us for sending a spy device.
That was an insult.
That
was perfect.
And insult. They just get away with it. So yeah, Chris, I think you say China won. And the U.S. is just looking stupid to let it come across all the way over our country. So that sends a message to everyone else. I wonder what we could get away with.
See, the thing is, the spy thing was really a weather balloon, but it identified as a spy balloon. And so
I think it's the other way around.
that's a problem. Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
I would say
Damn
this.
it, you screwed my joke up, Richard.
Look at the pattern of what we have had to become accustomed to. Our U.S. president and his son have been bought by Chinese government companies.
I'm gonna go with yeah.
We have a U.S. Congressman, Eric Swalwell, out of California, who
Chinese
was
spy
on
chick.
the Intel committee and sleeping with a known Chinese spy and was left on the committee by Nancy Pelosi.
And nothing.
Yeah, but hold on,
happened to him.
Richard. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. She was hot.
So
there you go.
it's hard to not believe that there's a pattern of simply our leadership looking the other way when it comes to Chinese threats and actions to undermine, U.S. security. That's on top of literally decades of stealing American secrets. So,
well, some estimate there are as many as 40,000 Chinese spies in America right now. But here's the big question. I think
we have spies there too. So
what is
it's not
China,
like we're not doing it also.
What is China's objective? Okay, if they hate capitalism so much, why are they spying on us?
Oh, they don't hate capitalism that much. They use it to prop up their communism. But they do. I mean,
expand on that. So
if it wasn't capitalism light,
if it wasn't for communism, if it wasn't for capitalism, would communism exist? Nope. I ask you, Chris Mendarvis.
No, it would not. China has to use it to prop up its crony capitalism. They allow certain people to profit, and they do, and they pay for everything. That's how it works. It's crony capitalism at its finest. We do a little bit of that here, but they do a lot of it over there.
Okay, and do we want that sort of system seeping out all over the world eventually? I think that's
no.
Really
I don't like evil.
What's it?
I like unevel. I'm like an unevel kind of guy. Like evil, I'm like, oh my god, it's evil. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's evil.
But have you considered? Maybe they're right. I mean, this is what so many.
Yeah, I considered it when I was 4 years old.
This is what so many.
I got over that.
Want and I'm against it. I think it's horrible. But there's so many more people. There are more, I would say, communist, socialist, or you call it, under 30 in America today, percentage-wise, than ever before.
Here, look, Tim.
Do you think that's a fact? Do you think that's fact or false? Richard Sheffield asked you.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, Chris.
I just wanted to say that, look, when you're young, you're a communist. When you're older and you've made some money, you're a capitalist. Just like when you're young, you're a Democrat. When you're older, you're a Republican. And that's the way it's always going to be.
Yeah, but today it seems, okay, when I was in college, I remember there were, it was pretty cool to be a Republican. Like, there were a lot of conservatives and same thing right out of college. Today, it just, No,
I'm just saying that's
there's just a lot more percentage-wise of the young people going to more, Democrat, socialism, whatever you want to call it, as opposed to capitalism and being a Republican. I mean, that's how it feels. I don't know if that's really true, but Richard, do you think percentage-wise there's more people under 30 that voted Democrat than a Republican than, say, in the 1980s?
Yeah, for sure. I think things go in cycles to some degree. But what's different than in the 80s and the 90s would be that these days you've got 20% of people or 30% of people under the age of, say, 30 that identify with socialism. And
yeah, that's what scares me.
What percentage do you think that is?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
I think it's more
46%.
I think it's more like a third. I don't think it's as low as 20.
Oh, I think it's like 46.
Yeah, I think it's high. I mean, there were a lot of Bernie Sanders. I mean, and let's face it, Joe Biden is Bernie Sanders light. I mean, he's almost the same.
No, he's not. Joe Biden's an idiot. He just does what he's nothing. Joe Biden's nothing. He's just whatever. Can I get the jacket? Where's my footage?
Kamala Harris. Is she
They just want the power, dude.
is she
These
Bernie
people-
Sanders like?
Yeah, but but what I'm saying is Bernie
Pick one.
Sanders.
Just pick one. Pick any of the top 5
Yeah,
Democrats.
listen, Tim. Bernie Sanders really is a Marxist. Joe Biden's whatever they tell him to be. He's just an empty suit. He's nothing.
43%, according to a recent Gallup survey, 40%
Pendo is right.
of Americans say that socialism would be good for the country.
Americans. That's not even under 30.
I hate being right.
So
all the time.
imagine that
It
percentage
hurts
under
me.
30. Imagine that percentage on the age of 30. 43%. I'm alarmed at that. That's very high.
Well, that's how stupid everybody is. We live in a world where the average IQ is 105. And I'm scared because of that. I used to think it was 125. I was wrong. I guess I'm a little stupider than I thought, but I thought it was 125. It's not, it's 105. So we've got cavemen running around going,
But Pendo, in all fairness, okay, your IQ is 136. You know, in all fairness, people of your level of intelligence, hasn't it always been that way, though? I mean, hasn't there always been, very smart people? And then, the IQ scale.
Richard seems like a smart guy. You seem like a smart guy. Why isn't everybody else kind of, like smart? I don't get
It's
it.
not how it is.
I mean, look at that painting behind Richard. He made that. Look at that. That's incredibly difficult to do.
We've trained our young people to look to the government for answers, and as Ronald Reagan famously said, the worst words you can hear from someone is "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Yeah.
People these days,
It is so true.
look at government as being the source of all wisdom, knowledge, source of income,
Which is funny. Sorry, because those same people say that same government is a big white supremacist Nazi government. So it's both.
I think they say that more about corporations than government.
Oh, no. No, are you kidding me? Systematic racism? Are you kidding me?
And
Systematic systematic
feels like they
racism
criticize
means
more
the government.
corporations in the private sector than they do government entities.
No, what I'm saying is when you say systematic racism, you're talking about the system, which is sheriff's departments, police departments, courts, the
The
system.
police, yeah.
Right.
Police,
That's
they
what I'm
just
saying.
want to break down law and order because of, who knows what. I mean, that mean, once you get to that level, you're talking about revolution.
Yeah.
And, I guess that is their goal, is some form of revolution. So do they believe in a constitution?
Oh, do what?
Do they believe in having a constitution?
Who? Who they?
These socialist people that,
Oh, hell no. No, they don't want a constitution. A constitution stops the government from doing things. You know what the worst thing Obama ever said? He came in and he said, now this is from a guy who's supposed to be a constitutional scholar. And he never understood what the Constitution was. He said, well, the Constitution says all kind of things what the government can't do to you. But it never says what the government can do for you. I don't want the government doing anything for me. The government already assumes all power over me. The Constitution tells it what it can't do. And Obama wants to stop that.
I'll say
I don't like that. I think that's evil.
This past Thursday, the U.S. House put up a measure to denounce socialism as being bad, as a bad form of government.
Okay.
It was a 328 in favor of the denunciation. 86 U.S. Congresspeople voted in or against the resolution denouncing socialism, and
AOC and her little crowd.
And 14 abstained. Right, and so
okay, the abstained people eat a lot of soy, and I have no respect for them.
Eric Swalwell, I don't know how he voted, but
But here's the thing, Richard. That's 100 people that have voted against it or abstained. That's 100 people. That's what 20, almost a 30%. I mean that's creeping up. That's creeping up to dangerous levels. They just come right out and admit it.
We're
And
not
I
talking
guarantee you, there's another 150 that just didn't want to have that on their record, but they still believe it.
yeah, we're not talking about college kids. We're not talking about some 19-year-old art student at New York University. We're talking about Congress people in the United States Congress that don't want to condemn socialism as a bad form
That
of
is
government.
insane.
That's scary. I mean, on record, on record.
I don't like that. I'm scared.
Okay, well here's the other topic that recently came up is the debt. We're at 32 trillion now. Our deficit is now somewhere around 2 trillion a year. How long can we go? The Republicans came out with an idea, say, hey, 10 years from now, this is last week, 10 years from now, let's pass a bill that says 10 years from now, we'll have a balanced budget. 10 years from now. So we're still going to spend trillions over budget every year for the next 10 years. But 10 years, we have to stop and finally spend what we take in. Just imagine the debt layer on top of that. So my question is to you, Chris, is there any solution in sight to this debt deficit issue? And does it matter?
Well, yeah, it does matter. Because we could make it eventually to where the dollar doesn't mean a damn thing. So yeah, it does matter. But yeah, there's a solution. Stop voting for Democrats.
Well, yeah, okay.
Please. That's it.
But in
my
all
answer.
fairness, Republicans are guilty of the same thing. Richard.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
I
You're
understand.
a rhino jerks. Look, my point is, you got jackass Republicans, of course, that always go with them. I'm talking about the whole philosophy of their philosophy. Stop voting for them. Stop it. Stop.
Well, they do subscribe more to
Stop
socialism.
doing that. We will fix it.
That's
It's
for
not
sure.
really all that hard.
But in
We
all
just
fairness
spend
here,
as much
yes,
as
we can
we
blame
can.
Democrats. We can blame Democrats. But Richard, if the Republicans had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, if the Republicans were in charge, do you think that they would do anything meaningful? That is, hard cuts in the military, hard cuts Social Security, hard cuts to Medicare. Those are three culprits of our spending. Would they? Is there anything meaningful that can be done about this runaway spending, this runaway debt? Is there anything meaningful that can be done?
I don't know. Because I think that we elect Republicans and we think that makes a difference, and it doesn't in most cases. If you look back at the percent against GDP of our debt, you go back to 2000, let's say 2000 and or 1996. So Bill Clinton's in office. The numbers are around 64, 63%, more or less. Bush gets in office.
Is the debt to GDP 64%?
Debt to GDP
Debt
ratio.
to GDP. Okay.
So as the economy grows, we spend more in theory. So this ratio is an important number, right? So Bush gets in office, George W. Bush gets in office, and the number goes up to around 61, 62%. So it actually is around the same level. Now, we were in some wars during that time, so that matters. Then in 2009, you've got Obama taking office, right? So he takes office, and that number goes up to 82%. So it goes from the mid 60s to maybe the low 60s up to 82%, 90%, 95, 99, 100, 101, 105, and so on. And then Trump comes into office in 2018, right? That number stays around 105%, 107%, 129%. And that number has actually slightly gone down from the high. Now, granted, there was some COVID-related stuff that took place in Trump's last year of that 129 number, but I don't think the answer is necessarily in thinking that a Republican Congress or a Republican president is going to have any more self-discipline than a Democrat does. I wish it were true, because at least then I would know what the solution is. But they're not. I mean, they love to spend my money as much as someone else likes to spend my money.
Well, it doesn't seem to be contained no matter who's in charge. Our debt to GDP is now at 124%. How much higher can you go until the currency, the value is just so diluted? The thing we have going for us is that all the other countries are doing the same thing. So if we're the less dirtiest house on the block, we're still a dirty house. The windows haven't been cleaned. But if all the other houses, the windows are broken, does it matter? I mean, Pendo, what do you think? I mean, it's basically a Ponzi scheme. I mean, can this sort of government financing continue indefinitely?
Of course not. But, and I normally would say, it's just going to go on and on and on. However, you have to remember, and I don't know if it's going to work out. Look, I'm not saying this is going to happen. But for the first time, we actually have Trump-like people in Congress. We didn't have that before. We always had these rhinos. We always had these get along to go along Republicans that, just, let me be here for the party. And it's not quite the same anymore. So I want to see what happens over the next 3 or 4 years. It might be different.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Can we continue this sort of massive government spending?
Well, that's why
you would think something.
How everything equals itself out. DNA and humans and life and the earth and all, maybe this is the same way. And
last year we spent $6.2 trillion.
Right, but what I'm saying is
I don't see that going down. I don't see that.
What I'm saying is we have more people that really want to do. In other words, we always had these McCains and these rhinos that were all over the place. A lot of them are gone now, and so I'm kind of curious to what's going to happen.
It's going to be interesting. The House conservative faction.
I'm not saying it's going to be different. I'm saying
I don't even think if the whole Congress was made up of Freedom Caucus guys, and I still don't know if they could do anything about it. They would have to be willing to take dramatic cuts to the entitlements, and I don't know if we have the stomach for it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Control this thing. Okay,
Tim. If we just started manufacturing, we would destroy China.
But our labor costs
so much beyond. We could fix that. Trust me, if we just do it, but we won't.
Well, we're going to try it with chips. So we'll see if we can get the semiconductor.
Richard, I want you on this. Okay? I want you to fix manufacturing. Tim, you're at the executive branch. I want you to fix that. Me, I'm going to get the labor. Okay?
Yeah, get us some cheap labor.
Shit.
We've opened the southern border and letting in a lot of cheap labor. So,
and where is it?
Richard,
it's out there. It's out there.
I guess.
Damn it.
But I think what's going to end up happening, I hate to say it, is that you end up with a war with China over Taiwan, and the economy is going to be.
I don't want that. That's bad. That's like nuclear.
If you had to point to one global issue, I think that's it. I mean, if you had to point to the biggest global issue right now,
you do realize that's nuclear war. Right.
The world will be a much different place, no matter, even if it doesn't turn nuclear, it will be a much different place.
I don't see how it won't, because China got pissed because we took out a balloon.
All the commerce between the
I think that's bluster.
Be massively destroyed.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think if we got in an actual war with them, China, they don't give a shit. They don't care if they lose a lot of people.
Here's the thing: China has a lot of leverage because they control 90% of our medicine.
And they have a shitload of people.
So
they really do.
Well,
they have what, 2 billion?
Forget a ground war. Forget a ground war. If they cut off our medicine, we'll do anything they ask.
Richard, how many people do they have?
You don't have our medicine? Yeah, whatever you want, you have it.
Richard, how many people does China have?
I think I want to say it's around 1.4.
1.4.
Billion.
That's a lot of people.
But a ground war.
It's 1.4 billion, but China has, this is a whole other issue, but China has a demographic, massive sort of population problem because of when they had their one-child policy. When you looked out at population, sort of project out population trends, their population will collapse in the next probably like 10 to 20 years, and they're going to end up with a ton of old people.
Oh, you mean having more old people than young people?
And how do you support old people without young people to produce?
That's a good question. Yeah, but it's Japan's in the same boat.
Okay, moving on to our arts and culture section. I have a question for each of you. I think it's generally accepted that the greatest living musician, in terms of, if you had to say who had the best career in music, who's living today, that would be Paul McCartney, right? Obviously, right? I mean, Chris, is that true? Is that, Richard, do you think that's a fact? The greatest, Paul McCartney is the most successful living musician today. Who else could it be?
I mean, first of all, the real Paul McCartney died
in 1966. We all know that.
That's a good point. Okay, so if we can just accept that as fact, because it is, who is the second greatest living, who had the best career in music?
Kanye?
Art Garfunkel.
Close. Not Kanye. Chris?
David Oates.
This is going to surprise you. It's Barry Gibb.
Actually, that's true.
No, Barry Gibb. No, Richard. Barry Gibb has written 16 #1 hits.
Oh, wait a minute. Lennon had more than that.
16 #1 hits. Not
yeah, but Lennon had more than Lennon.
Not top 20, not top 100. #1 hits. 16 #1 hits.
John Lennon had 29.
John Lennon is dead. It was living. The greatest living.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Barry Gibb the same. But you know,
Barry Manilow. I think
Barry
Gibb and Barry have probably, have written more #1 hits between them than anyone named Paul.
Hey, wait a minute. Wouldn't Paul McCartney? Wait a minute. Wouldn't Paul McCartney be over Barry?
So, yeah, Paul McCartney's over Barry, but Barry Gibb's the second. My point is this: does Barry Gibb get the credit he deserves? I ask you, Chris Pendarvis.
Oh no, he was great.
Does he get the credit he deserves? It like if you were to randomly poll.
I mean, he's not my music. I really do.
Who are the top 3 musicians living today? Would even like 5% mention Barry Gibb in their top 3?
No, and he doesn't deserve it.
Why?
Because Alex Lifeson has to be in there somewhere.
Well, he was great. You talking about the guitarist?
He created genre of rock and roll by himself.
You talking about the guitarist for Rush?
Yes.
Oh well, but he didn't have. I'm talking about
kind of hard to argue, isn't it?
Paul Simon's up there. Paul Simon's written a lot.
Oh yeah, no, you're talking about songwriting. I'm talking about ability to play his freaking instrument.
Well, no. Okay,
Prince would have been in there had he not tragically died. Recently.
True. Prince was awesome. Prince was great. No, Prince was a brilliant musician. He was a really, 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 really good musician.
But it's not just being a musician; it's composing and writing the songs.
I know, but he did.
Prince did. Yes.
No, but
Alex Lifeson did not do that.
Yes, he did.
Like Lionel Richie,
they all 3 wrote all of their stuff.
Lionel Richie wrote songs that include like "Lady," that Kenny Rogers,
No, but Richard,
the Commodore songs.
That was actually
remember, but guys, listen. Alex Lifeson, Geddy Lee wrote the music, and Neil Peart wrote the lyrics. So for all of their stuff, Alex was involved in the writing of the song. Alex wrote what he played and all that. The guy was brilliant.
Okay, fair enough.
I love
he is overlooked. I think you're right. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves either.
I love Rush music, but you can't. I don't think Alex Lifeson hits the top 20. and guitarist, much less songwriter.
I think you need to go to jail. I think you need to
Fight
go
words,
to
Richard.
jail for that. Hey, you know what? If we were Canadian, I would have your ass in jail, buddy.
Look, I'm a massive Rush fan. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Rush. I'm just saying. I have a Rush T-shirt upstairs that I put on. I could wear to the next show. But
I think would Jimi Hendrix make the top 5 best guitarists ever?
Yes, of course he would.
Oh, yeah.
This is my top 3 are Jimmy, or Alex, Jimmy, and Stevie Ray.
That's a good. What about Eddie Van Halen?
Eddie Van Halen.
He's in the top 5.
Right. You got to throw Dwayne Allman in the top 3.
Dwayne Allman.
Actually, no, I don't, because
What about Eric Clapton?
Do what? I'm sorry, Dwayne Allman was not in the top 3. He could not play his guitar like those guys.
Dwayne Allman.
And I love Dwayne Allman. He was more of a better songwriter.
Dude, Dwayne Allman's normal. I mean, just go look at normal. He's normally
not as phenomenal as Alex Lifeson. Alex Lifeson came from another freaking planet and landed and started playing music out of Canada. And it was really weird. I mean, I've got videos of it if you want to see it.
So, Chris, I want to ask you, because
Page, Jeff Beck, who just
yeah, that's sad, dude. Hey, that was awful, man.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, David Gilmour.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot. Like I said, Carlos Santana.
I guess what makes me the maddest, I'm not Carlos Santana. What a pusswad. He didn't do shit. Oh, look at me. I'm a guitarist. That's all he does. He didn't write anything. He didn't sing anything. He didn't do anything.
Billy Gibbons from
nothing. Carlos Santana, my ass.
Randy Rhoads.
Carlos Santana.
Randy Rhoads, he was awesome.
He was awesome.
Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits, one of my favorites.
That's one of the greatest guitarists that ever walked planet Earth. Mark Knopfler.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crowded room. You've got, you've even got Keith Richards, who I'm not necessarily a big fan of personally, but whatever.
No, but he was good at what he did, though.
Okay, now Pendo, who had the best career in music that is still alive today? Top 3, rank them. Top 3.
God, I don't know. Paul McCartney, I guess.
No, obviously he'd be number 1. He'd be number 2.
Oh God, alive today, right now?
Still alive.
Hey, Richard, who's alive? I kind of forgot.
Well,
everybody's been dying, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I think alive is.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Who is alive?
Well, oh no, not Prince. Elton John.
I forgot about Elton. Oh, Robert Plant's still alive.
Yep.
Pink. Oh, the Pink Floyd dudes. They're both still alive, right?
David Gilmour and Roger Waters are both still alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bono, Dolly Parton.
Hell,
Dolly
Parton's still alive.
Dolly Parton. She'd be up there.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I'll say this. I'm looking at a statistic right now. Net worth of these living musicians.
Yeah. Name the top 5.
Okay, top 5 is Sean Puffy Combs at $1 billion.
Okay.
Andrew Lloyd Webber at $1.2 billion.
Yeah, but I thought he would have been more than that.
Tied with Andrew Lloyd Webber is Sir Paul McCartney. Second place is Jay-Z at 1.5, and a name that I would have bet you both $100 you never would have guessed. You want to guess who it is at 1.7 billion?
Kanye.
Beyonce?
Rihanna.
Oh, no, I believe that. She's got some kind of a fashion thing.
I don't know.
It's like a clothing.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, but it's not her music, the debater, that it's the fashion crap.
Interesting.
Yeah,
still, you
really.
you gotta give her credit.
Oh God, yeah. But she didn't make it off hit records. She made about 40 million off hit, which is good. But the rest of it came from like a fashion line.
But I couldn't name one Rihanna song if you asked me to.
No, I couldn't.
Richard, do you think Elvis belongs in the top 5, even though he didn't write the songs he sang?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, Elvis took the risks, and he had the style, and like any musician, he's going to be a mixture of songwriters, image people, whatever. I mean, there's managers, even bands like the Stones or the Who or the Rolling, or even Pink Floyd, as independently minded as they were, had people like Alan Parsons, help get them where they got. So all that to say is, yeah, I think Elvis has to be a top 5 musician of all time. I mean, given his influence for no other reason.
Pendo, what do you think?
The fact that you asked the question means that you need to be shot in the face with a gun. Richard, you too, because you answered the question. I'm going to say, I can't believe y'all even questioned.
Yeah, he's well, I mean,
Elvis's part in the history of rock and roll. I mean, come on.
Where would you rank him? I didn't. You didn't mention his name earlier, Chris. We were going through the top 5. You didn't mention his name.
He said living. He's not a living.
Yeah,
you said that's a good point. Okay. Well, Chris, living
Thank
dead.
you, Richard.
Chris, living dead. Rank him top 5. Living and dead. Top 5.
Oh God, you got the Beatles, Elvis. That's it.
The Beatles and Elvis. That's it.
There's nobody. Oh, is there some other music? I don't know. Is there? I don't think so.
I mean, they were great bands. I mean, Pink Floyd, the Eagles.
What else? Yeah, the Beatles.
Richard, your opinion, top 5.
I mean, we talked about this before. The top 5 bands for me are probably the Stones.
Can be a solo act like Elvis.
Yeah, the Stones. I'm sorry, the Beatles would be number 1. Elvis Presley is going to be number 2, and those are debatable. I mean, I'm going to put the Beatles.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For their combined, even their solo careers, they deserve some credit. And I think probably number 3 coming behind them. I mean, then you start to kind of get into other genres. You look at someone like it's hard to put
Frank Sinatra, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, Michael Jackson's probably number 3. Not a fan. He's probably number 3. I mean,
I consider him more of an entertainer than a studio guy.
Garth Brooks. I mean, there were a few. There were a few artists.
Unbelievable career.
Garth Brooks. I mean, Garth Brooks in his prime was probably the biggest artist on the planet. Same for Michael Jackson, right? And then, but look, if we just want rock, I mean, I'm going to throw Pink Floyd in there. I think their type of music, and like I said on a previous episode, their 4 album, going from Dark Side of the Moon to Wish You Were Here to Animals to The Wall. Those 4 albums are, sort of redefined. They're just a different genre altogether. I mean, so, and the real debate for me, I've always sort of found it interesting that the British music market tended to spit out and has still spit out massive groups, right? The Stones, the Who, the Kinks, the Beatles. Whereas the American market has always tended to spit out individual artists like Elvis Presley or B.B. King, or going into the country market, like Dolly. And I mean, so it's interesting to me that I don't know if it's the American culture tends to emphasize individual performers versus groups, but when you stack up British groups versus American groups, a much smaller country crushes the American history.
I don't know. We had Nirvana.
We had Fleetwood,
PCR,
the Eagles,
Chicago,
the Beach Boys,
Aerosmith,
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you all the answer now by the top 5. These are individuals. Number 1, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Barry Gibb. There's your top. That's your answer. Okay.
You put Barry Gibb over Elton John.
Yes, definitely over Elton John. Elton John played a good piano, but he didn't write his own music, so
Well, he did partly. Bernie Taupin wrote.
He's not a top 5.
Hold on, Tim. Elton did write his own music. It was him and Bernie Taupin. Well, they wrote it together. They wrote. Bernie would write the lyrics.
You can tell everybody that this is your song. That was.
This is your.
What I'm saying is, Elton would write the music. Bernie wrote the words.
The lyrics. Fair enough. Okay, now moving to sports. We have a ball game next week. Super Bowl Sunday. Pendo, what is your prediction?
I think
Chiefs or the Eagles?
the what?
It's the Chiefs against the Eagles. What's your prediction?
Oh God. The Chiefles. I mean, I don't care.
Well, it can't end.
Two, I hope
So you got to
both
pick
of them.
one. You have to.
I want both of them to lose.
Oh,
That's what I want. I want
well,
both
you have to pick one. So who you going with?
The Eagles.
Okay, Richard. Eagles or Chiefs?
37-24 Eagles.
Oh, Eagles. Okay.
You're only saying that because you know stuff.
I like Jalen Hurts. I think the Eagle, obviously a great football team, but I think the Chiefs are gonna win one in a squeaker. I'm going with the Chiefs.
There are dogs
Hey, is
on
the quarterback
teams.
still hurt?
I think they're a 1.5 underdog. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Is what's his name still injured?
No, the quarterback for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine.
Oh, okay. I thought he was still injured.
There are 4 Georgia players coming up in the Super Bowl. So you've got
Didn't
you've
know
got
that.
you've got McCole Hardman plays for the Chiefs. You've got Nakobe Dean plays for the Eagles. And Jordan Davis plays for the Eagles.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
One of my favorite dogs ever. And I'm trying to think who the 4th guy is. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, Richard, hey, did you like the special effects last week?
Those were good. I mean, they're good. Yeah, you can,
I don't want to do it all the time, but I thought,
No, dude, it's good. That's good stuff. All right. Well, thus concludes another exciting episode of Insanity Island.
we're done? Okay.
Bang.
Whoa! Whoa!
Unless you've got anything else, Pindo, you want to add some last minute just awesomeness.
Nope.
Oh,
Honestly, I don't have anything. I can't
Richard,
think of anything
dude,
right
any last minute thoughts?
all views expressed in this podcast belong to the individual who says them.
now. I totally agree.
And
Please don't fire me, disclaimer.
Richard, I do have to get one of those images, though.
these 2 guys are self-employed, guys that live on the coast. And I'm a working man who's
Working for the man every night and day.
who's appreciative of all cultures. So.
Very well said. Appreciative of all cultures. We do appreciate all of our cultures, don't we? We appreciate all of our cultures.
It takes a village.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
It's spoken like a true Democrat. Until next time, it's insane.
Later, guys.
Adios.
Adios.